Hello, my name is Sam Hall. This is my peer reflection on Taylor Wigley's persuasive speech on the topic of backcountry skiing and how it's better than resort skiing. Throughout this peer reflection, I will be evaluating Taylor on his speech, the info in his speech, and his delivery throughout it. I will use what I have learned throughout my experiences in the ComX 111 class, both in lecture and online, to give my opinions on his speech. Taylor started off his speech with an introduction of himself, followed by a question. I like this attention getter as it gets people's thoughts going about skiing. He then asks about powder, which if you ski, you know that's everyone's favorite thing for a reason. Once people are thinking about it, then he directly states his stance, that backcountry skiing is the best way to do this, therefore making it better than resort skiing. This was an effective way to do this as it makes his stance clear. After his attention getter and his proposition, he then goes on to talk about why he was qualified to talk about this topic. Lastly, in his introduction, he gives a brief overview of his speech and what's yet to come. This follows the format of an introduction that we learned in class. He then gets into the body of his speech. The three main points in his body were first, how to get up the mountain, then the advantages of backcountry skiing, and lastly, how to stay safe in the backcountry. He uses those three main points to make it clear why he believes that backcountry skiing is so much better. He also used subpoints in order to strengthen the main points. Along with the subpoints, he also used several sources to reinforce his topic. The body of his speech is similar to the introduction in that it follows the outline that we learned in class. Throughout the body, he also used several visual aids to help make sure that his points were clear. One thing that I liked was that he had a different visual aid for each main point. Taylor had a pretty average closing statement. It was clear when his body was over, and he gave a nice recap of the speech. It was easy to tell when his conclusion was over as well. However, I wouldn't call his closing statement memorable. It was far too average to do this. He could definitely benefit from a more out-of-the-box style closing statement. His delivery could have been improved upon, but overall it was well done. There were a few instances where he had long sustained pauses while he was talking. This made it seem like he was less prepared in his speech, and it's definitely something he could improve on. His camera was also way lower than him, which was an odd angle to watch. I would say that the biggest strength in his speech were his visual aids. They helped to clear up his main points, and the fact that he actually pulled his avalanche airbag instead of just pointing it out was a nice touch. The biggest weakness of Taylor's speech was his delivery and his lack of information. Taylor was over 2 minutes short on his speech, which came from a lack of information. What he had was well done, it just needed more. He just overall didn't seem like he didn't care. His delivery was a bit choppy, and it didn't seem like he'd practiced the speech before.